sometimes. Haven't you? People always want to matter someplace. They hate to even think about it.
He's alive! He's alive! Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of Pizza Live. Pizza Live! I am your host, Shanth and Jetty. You are watching Shanth and Jetty Art, and I have to tell you guys, I am really excited. I had a crazy busy day today, but a great day. You know, another trip to the post office, shipping off comic books. I want to say hello to my channel members here. Thank you guys so much. You guys are going to see your name in the credits. Thank you for supporting the show. But I watched an incredible documentary today that is on YouTube. Don't go watch it now, though. Wait till this is done. On the life and art of Dave Stevens, one of my absolute heroes. It was an incredibly well done documentary, and just really inspired me. And then on top of that, we have got a brand new, ish approach to the show, which is because so many of you guys were saying, I'm watching this on my phone and on my iPad. I want to be able to kind of see what's going on. I actually made a new video so I don't have to click any images or anything like that. That's just going to have about every minute or two, there's going to be a new screen cap from the film. So that if you don't have this open, and the link is in the description, when I hit play, there's going to be a time code at the bottom for Hallmark's incredible miniseries, 2-episode miniseries of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. For my money, and one of the things that's been praised as being one of the most faithful, absolutely faithful adaptations. And every time I look at you'll see when you're looking at the stills or when you're watching the film, I just was so impressed by the special effects. It's very much Mary Shelley meets Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein, his incredibly illustrated Frankenstein. So it's fantastic, and I can't say enough good things about it. Just a real big fan of this. So let's see who we've got here in the chat. Do we got any channel members in the house? We got Cranberry Langers in the house. It is great to see you, my friend. We have got Mark's Music Obsession. How are you doing, Mark? It is great to see you. We've got Simply Green in the house. Hey, Simply Green. We have got Grey Wolf Graphics. It is great to see you, WD Smith. I hope you are doing well, my friend. And let me see, who else have we got? Got Mark's Music Obsession. We've got any other channel members before we get started. All right, excellent. Then we've also got a couple of folks in here. Mr. Monkey Boy 1969 is here. John is in the house. It is great to see you, John. And Mike Likes Tacos is here. It is great to see you, my friend. And yeah, if you haven't ordered a pizza yet and you feel the need, order a pizza. We're going to sit back. We're going to check out this movie. What is up, Mighty Geek Studios? It is great to see you, my friend. And I got to tell you guys, I'm a massive fan of Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein. I've seen a lot of adaptations of Frankenstein, but the thing that makes this, movie sing, what makes it so great, is this: they were punching well above their weight in terms of for a TV miniseries. The compositions are beautiful, the lighting is beautiful, and so again, I can't say enough good things about it. And really, they paint the monster, which I think is one of the great villains in literature. I think we've kind of postmodernist nuanced it to bits, but as you'll see in a true adaptation, the villain is not Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein is hubris incarnate. He's hubris incarnate. He thinks he sort of wants to acquire the abilities to create life, in many ways, like God in that sense. And he does not have the ability to create something that has a soul. And he, in many ways, he is, he does everything he does in defiance. He uses his genius, and it's the hubris of his own genius that creates this villain. And he doesn't understand the moral consequences of what he's done. And I love it so much. It's such a great movie. Yes, I've watched I, Frankenstein finally, by the way, Mighty Geek Studios. It is fantastic. It's a fun movie. I love Kevin, is it Kevin Grievous? Is that how you pronounce it correctly? And I love the Underworld movies, too. I love those movies. They're a blast. Particularly the first two. I really enjoyed those first two. So, yeah, it is... it's something else, man. It's a great flick, this flick. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hit play on the movie. And welcome, Comrade Sammy, as well. It's great to see you in the house here. Gosh, we got so many folks popping in here, and it's great to see you all. I'm going to hit play on the movie. The link for the movie is in the description. You'll have a time code when I hit play so you can follow along. And as I said before, this is going to be a new one. I'll be on one side of the screen, and on the other side, you're going to see some screen caps from the movie and some of my favorite compositions and notes for the story on this. So here we go. Let's do this thing, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And again, if you are new to this channel, my name is Shanthan Jetty. This is Shanthan Jetty Art. I'm the artist, writer, and creator of a fully hand-painted comic book, Nosfero the Crypt Walker. There's going to be a second chance campaign for it soon. I'm always painting artwork and doing new things on this channel, so if you want to watch my process of creating my work, subscribe, like, all of those good things. But for tonight, it's just about watch party and enjoying a really great, highly underrated movie. So here you go, guys. Let's get this thing started. And here we go. Again, I don't know exactly how to say this, without, I love this flick, but I must say that the font choices are a little dodgy on this thing with regards to the texture and the bevel and emboss. It happens, though. I'm not going to throw stones in that glass house. So the title of the movie is, of course, Frankenstein. And the link is pinned to the chat. So, Cranberry Langers, if you go to the top of the chat, it's got the movie link right there. So just click on that link and open it up in another window, and you will be good to go. So I should have said that from the beginning, guys. And so this movie starts, or part 2 of this series, I should say, starts with, in the aftermath of Victor Frankenstein's younger brother, having been found dead when he gets separated from, his nanny. And he's found in the woods, and they're going for more evidence. They're trying to figure out what happened, and they find in this particular moment right here, Victor finds his kite, destroyed, and he was chasing that in the woods, unfortunately, when he came upon the monster. So Victor Frankenstein's little brother, who was maybe like 8 or 9, had a run-in with the monster, and he's no longer with us. Victor's trying to figure out how he can track this guy down when, again, his father comes to the scene, and this is what I love. Tammy D, it's great to see you. How are you doing? His father comes in, and he's like, "We found the murderer." And Victor's like, you mean the reanimated corpses I put together? And then he learns something truly horrible, that the suspected... What's up, Miss Saren? How are you doing? Great to see you. He learns that the suspected killer is the nanny, and he just can't reason that. And there's, of course, our look at the monster. Look at that shot that I chose right there. If that isn't a fantastic shot of Frankenstein's monster, he looks like Batman. Oh, Tammy, I'm so glad to hear that your neck is on the mend. Oof. And so what's the reasoning? Why do they think that she's guilty? Well, because they found among her belongings a little locket that the boy had. And we're going to find out how that locket was found on her person, Justine's person. Welcome, Headless Bourgeoisie. It's great to see you, my friend. And they're like, she's a part of our family. She couldn't have done this. And then he announces, the gentleman who is, the police, says, she's confessed. And the other shoe drops, guys. And they're like, what? And this is the problem, right? This is the thing that makes the monster so terrifying. When I love, and you guys know this, welcome Odin, it's great to see you, my friend. I love the monster. I love the monster in terms of in the 1931 film. But that's not really the monster of the novel. Look at this beautiful shot. Victor goes to see her, and she's in prison, heartbroken. And she's like, I didn't harm anybody. Ooh. And then he realizes that she was so confused. Aviator Surge, how are you doing, my friend? Great to see you. And Pale Rider, great to see you as well. Gosh, it's hopping in here. I've got to make sure I keep up with you guys. So what you find out is this poor nanny is like, I didn't do it, but she's confessed. These are different time periods. All the evidence pointed to her. And now he's going and he's saying, listen, this monster, it's a pretty tough thing to dig your way out of this, you know? It's this monstrous creature I created that's on the loose that killed my younger brother, not this person with evidence that I know really exists. And then he finds out justice is done. And guys, if you're joining us here, you're new to the show, you see where this is going in this shot that I selected here. But if you want to watch along with the movie, the timestamp, the time code, is down below on this screen. Open it up on YouTube. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. So if you feel like watching this movie along with us, the link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's on YouTube. And then you can just have this open in another window and you can listen to my insanity. So she goes to the gallows. She goes to the gallows. Oof. My God. And then you see the monsters just kind of lurking around, almost like, again, a serial killer going to the scene of the crime. And this is what he wanted. This is what the monster wanted. Horrible. And this is the part that gets me. When she drops and, when her life is taken, the monster almost recoils in horror at what he's done, in framing her. And you're at Odin, 100% right. I was saying this at the start of the stream. They were so influenced by Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein. God rest him. Bernie Wrightson, an artist legend. I was fortunate enough to see his originals for that in person. Yeah, I feel like I've been in the guillotine. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we might wish it after that. And of course, meanwhile, we do what the novel did is such a great thing. All of this story is being relayed at the end of Victor Frankenstein's chase, failed chase so far, to kill the monster in the Arctic. And he runs into an expedition frozen in the ice that see him near death, and he tells his story to the captain. If people want to understand what is the story of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein about, it's basically about a expedition to the North Pole getting stuck in the ice, and someone coming along and convincing them to turn back because it's futile. Do not do this. Do not chase the question or the thing that you think is going to be some marvelous answer at the expense of your own life. It's about telling somebody to turn back from a not as fantastical, wouldn't have made as great of a story, but an adventure. And you see this sequence here, which is, again, look at these compositions in this film. And if you're not watching along, look at it on the side of the frame. But in the sequence in the movie right now, the monster goes and takes down this nanny who, has... You'll find out, of course, who he framed. And he takes her body down and kind of looks over to contemplate what he has done. And there's just something so haunting Yes, that's Sutherland. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's incredible. It's Kiefer Sutherland. He didn't age well back then, but then he came back. No, but Donald Sutherland is in this. He's fantastic. So many great actors in this. But look, just tragic. And then we get this this sequence here, where Victor is falling asleep afterwards, and the monster comes and visits him, and comes in, and he's sleeping there with a gun. Listen, if you've got a monster out to kill you, here's a thought: maybe not get blasted and fall asleep at your desk. And the monster talks to him while he's asleep, and then delivers a note to him. And in delivering the note, he's he said, basically, it's come meet me. I got some fun things for you. Yeah, Janie's got a gun is right, Sean. Yeah. Yeah, smack that like, kids. Absolutely right. Well said, Tammy. Well said. And, of course, again, the monster is not a dim bulb in, the real telling of the story. I don't know, a monster's after me. I'm getting blitzed. Hey, listen. Yeah, but get really blitzed, Like, don't just wake up a few minutes later after the dude in the elevator. I don't know. So he decides he's got this note. And then you see his buddy hanging out. And his buddy is like, dude, we've been through enough. Don't go out looking for trouble. But he wants to find the monster. And that shot right there I picked is, for those of you guys not watching along with it, is just an iconic, beautiful shot of the monster stalking him if you look up in the cliffs. And the monster absolutely has the drop on him from the word go. He has got, this monster, again, is a serial killer. He's a stalker. He's not playing around. He is cunning. He is wicked. He is incredibly strong and incredibly intelligent. That is the brilliance of what Mary and Percy Shelley put together with that book. It's miraculous. And again, for those of you guys who know Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein, look at the way that the cloth is draped over him, and when he runs, it swings. You're going to see some examples of this in a second. 100% Cranberry Langer's devious and terrible, and John says Rambo Frankenstein. You're not kidding. This totally reminds me of First Blood. And, when he's armed, he's, ready to go take down the monster. But, yeah, this monster is 100% Rambo. He just, perhaps he just wanted the sandwich. What the hell was up with that town, by the way, in Rambo First Blood? We'll get to that later, but, my goodness. So, again, at no point is the monster in charge. So, again, we have a brief return to the Arctic, and we have a brief return to the brilliant Donald Sullivan. God, I'm tired. Sutherland, not Sullivan. And he's basically, there's, to me, when I was watching this, while it was it's brilliant, even when you're reading it, you just think, how much of this was he really believing this entire time? Do you know what I mean? And so, here you go. Here's the ask. And look at that again, guys. This movie's cinematography is fantastic. What's up, Holy Hand Grenades? Hail to you, my friend. It is great to see you. Yeah, guys, look at that shot. He is like, I am going to hunt this monster down. The monster says, meet me at these ruins. And, the problem with this monster is he is freakishly strong. And, there's no sneaking up on this cat. He's what we say in the house. He's in the South, he's a brick S house. And that is what we got here. And so, again, beautiful mist. Great cinematography. Look at these shots. This is practically what was done on backlots in Universal. It's actually much more sophisticated because they're on location for a lot of this, but it's got that charm and the way the shots are framed. Look, this stuff is great. And he's like, show yourself, which don't say show yourself when you're trying to confront a monster. And of course, the monster gives him a slap and he flies. He's not a monster. He's just misunderstood. Yeah, well, we'll get there. My dad used to say that, Sean. You know what I'm talking about, Tammy. You know. And again, guys, listen, I don't know if any of you guys have ever fought somebody significantly taller than you, but there comes to be a point that I've always found hilarious. Back when I was a kid, I was like in 8th grade. I remember there was this giant kid, Thomas, who I wasn't smart enough to back down from a fight with him. He was like a head taller than me and maybe twice my weight. And I took a swing and I hit him as hard as I could. And I remember thinking, I thought that was going to do something. And that is exactly what Victor's realizing right here. Victor is realizing that, and he says to Victor, "Is this how you wish to die?" You know? Yeah, it happens. And then he's like, "You can speak." Man. Whew. Oh, man. Yeah, the monster's, both figuratively and literally, this monster has got him dead to rights. He says, he goes, "You're a murderer." And he goes, "I curse the day that these hands gave you life. I curse these hands. And here you go." And he's like, "You're calling me a murderer? You'd kill me?" He can talk and he can sing. Oh my God, I do love that movie. And here we get the story of how William met his end. And it ain't good. Because, I mean, I didn't mean to. I mean, it was sort of accident. So basically, he's like, "I went to your house to find you, and the first person I bumped into was your little brother. And that still I chose of those two meeting in the woods, shot through the trees, you know. I mean, you guys can see it off to the side right there. Terrifying stuff. And beautiful. And by the way, for those of you curious, the actor who is playing the monster is the same actor who played Prince Nuada in Hellboy 2. So he does incredible work under makeup. He's also a musician, a lot of different things. And of course, and the kid becomes scared when the monster says, "Don't scream." And of course, the monster decides to cover his mouth up, and a little too effective with that. And then, of course, and then he is expired. You know, it's practically, again, I mean, I can't help but think that Steinbeck may have drawn some inspiration from this with, Of Mice and Men. You know, it's rough, man. Yeah, and I would say Cranberry Langers and Odin on that point. There's, to me, sentience is not in this book, in this vision by Mary Shelley. I mean, Mary Shelley had some things that she wanted to say. There's no getting around it. And then we get to where it just goes sideways. Cranberry Langers, let me just say this. Yeah, he did. He did just want to pet the bunny, George. You're absolutely right there. And Cranberry Langers, let me say this. You say it's very debatable, and I would say you're right. That is why this book is canonical. I love it. And so, of course, the nanny is out desperately looking for William Frankenstein, his younger brother. Yes, that's the actor. I don't think that's the actor who plays the Captain Firefly, but they do look alike. You're absolutely right. They do. That guy was in the Dune miniseries. So she's out. The nanny is out searching for him all night. Very good point, Aviator Surge. And she ends up falling asleep. And, of course, he's got this piece of jewelry off the kid. And he finds her. And he, of course, thinks she's beautiful. And he says, I looked at her and I saw how beautiful. Yeah, you're right. Looks like Nathan Fillion, the actor. And this is the thing. He goes, if she saw me, if she woke up and she saw me, she would be repulsed by me. And that's when I realized I was overcome by anger at that. And I placed the thing on her and framed her. And look at this shot of the two on this cliffside. And Victor's like, I mean, at this point, I'm like, we got to be done. But he's like, what do you want? And he goes, I want a family. The monster's like, I want a family. And you have to make a mate for me. And Victor pulls a gun on him. Listen, Victor, darling, lad. He pulls a gun on him and the monster slaps it out of his hand. It's hopeless. And then he goes, if you don't give me a mate, if you don't give me a bride, dare I say, I will destroy your life and you will be cursing me till the day you die. And he makes good on that. You got to give it up to him, you know. Why do I have Godzilla from Blue Oyster Cult in your head? I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Tammy D. So he wants her to join him in death. I think so to speak, yeah. It's tough to say. I mean, you know. And he says, if I make you a bride, does that mean I'm never going to see you again? And he goes, yes. If you... And guys, this is the thing. This... Aviator Surge. Oh, no. You just killed me. He says, all my pain is because I'm so lonely. All you have to do is make me a mate, you know, make a female dead, you know, made from different bodies female, and I'll be happy. He goes, but if I do, you got to leave Europe and you got to get the heck out of here. And he goes, it's going to take me some time to do this. Yep. The siege and investiture of Baron von Frankenstein's castle at Wisteria is a song by... Oh, there you go. Wow. Yeah, I don't believe him either, to be honest. And then, of course, he returns his journal. So the reason why, with the VF on it, the reason why the monster knows all about his making and everything that was going on, and Victor suddenly realizes this, is because he's had his journal the whole time. So he knows everything Victor was thinking. And this is again, if you missed the first part of this, the link is in the previous video, and it's worth watching without me yammering over it as well, obviously. But if you've missed it, the special effects in this are fantastic. And they don't miss a trick. When they get to the assembly of the mate for the monster, I was staggered. I was staggered the first time around, but I kept waiting for them to, you know, trip over themselves a little bit. And they didn't, you know. What is up, Michael? How are you doing? It's great to see you in the house. Hail to you, brother. I hope you're doing well. I love this story, and I love the way they do it. So, of course, he rides off. He comes home. And God bless her. She is such a perfect casting for Elizabeth. You know, she is such a vision. And that's a shame. She picked the wrong dude. Oy. You know, it kind of made a superhuman dead body. Does Frankenstein the monster look sad that he's leaving Victor? I believe so. And again, look at these shots. If they weren't looking at Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein, then they're lying. No, I think they were. So he's there thinking about what he's got to do and looking over his books, you know? Oh, nice, Tammy. That's great. And of course, there's his friend, Dan Stevens, who you guys may know. He played a character called Matthew for the first few seasons of Downton Abbey. And so a lot of young British actors and, of course, some amazing, amazing actors like William Hurt and Donald Sutherland are in this movie. And so this is kind of his buddy. This is his pal who is like the sane one. You know? Yeah. Bodies, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, he's halfway in and out of death, Victor Frankenstein, buried in bodies. Got you. Yep. Let me see here. Always great to see Cranberry Langers, indeed. Mark's Music Obsession. Check out this video for the song sometime. I absolutely will. Fantastic, Mark. Aviator Surge, for a second, I thought that was the Van Helen logo on the book. That's right, Van Helsing. I got it. I ain't got nobody. Oh, that's perfect. So it was like, yeah, I got to go away for a little bit. I got to work on a project. And, of course, Elizabeth, who was adopted by his family, has had a crush on him forever. His best friend is like, yeah, dude. And so there you have a beautiful shot of the monster reading. And, of course, if you're watching along with us, there's a beautiful shot of Elizabeth, and she's painting, and she's wearing one of those classical sort of sun hats that gives this, again, the shots in this, the sets, the costumes. This is the most it couldn't help but be, right? The most underrated telling of Frankenstein. And of course, he sees the monster watching her from the woods, and he's like, you have got to get a heck out of here. And she doesn't know. And the monster kind of runs off, and he's like, yeah, I got to get to work, kid. Yeesh. Yeah. That monster is something else. And so, yeah, so Elizabeth is, what are you going to do? You know, Elizabeth is basically, you know, she loves this guy, and he's like, I got to go away. I got work to do. And he's going to go away and build the bride or the mate of this monster he's created. And heaven help us. And, you know, this part right here, if ever someone is watching something like this and they're thinking like, oh, you know, is this, you know, I don't know. For me, whenever I'm watching these movies, one of the things I do is I kind of just wait for them to trip up. You know what I mean? I think you can't possibly get the special effects to be as good as they're going to need to be. And man, when he starts assembling the mate for the monster, oof. I mean, we get into some serious stuff. So he goes back to work. And heaven help him and heaven help us. Goodness gracious. And she's perfect casting. Absolutely perfect casting as Elizabeth. I mean, if you know the tragic nature of her experiences, you know. And so he starts working in his laboratory and starts, you know, digging graves and getting some parts that he needs. Yeah, she is Cranberry Langers. You're 100% right. She's perfect. That's tough. All of these roles. Think about this. The Frankenstein's mother is a blonde in this. Elizabeth is a blonde. Their adopted child. And then the nanny is. And I would argue that all three of them are perfectly cast. And there's very subtle nuances in look that convey character. And she is 100% innocence incarnate. That's what makes her so fantastic in this. So here we are back in the lab because, when in doubt, I guess return to the scene of the crime and try it again. I don't know what. It's such a rough story. Yeah, such a rough story. That's why I'm always amazed when people, they say, kind of cast a hair color or skin color ridiculous. You're casting to type. It's very complicated to do. And of course, yeah, absolutely. Caring about casting is so important, Cranberry Langers. And so there's a knock at the door. And it's his old teacher saying, hey, is it true you've returned? And he's like, you can't come in. And he's like, I'm just here to help you from making a terrible mistake. And he's like, hold my beer. Past Master Dan, it's great to see you. And indeed, great job on those likes, everybody. You guys are crushing it tonight. And he's like, go back and teach. Woohoo, snap. Ooh. And he shuts the door, but, he's like, teacher, you don't know how in deep I am. So, oh boy. So, if you're watching this in a separate window, you just saw a leg go in a bag. He's looking for various parts, and this is when I was like, okay. Special effects are solid in this. So the link to the movie, if you want to watch along with us and open it in another window, is of course pinned to the top of the chat. We're going to be doing that every time we watch one of these movies. Holy cow. So he's collecting some parts and going back to his lab. Yeah, Build-A-Mate from IKEA's 100% right, Aviator Surge. Oof. And he sees that someone is lurking in the shadows. And he's like, who the heck is following me? And this is, for me, for my money, watching stuff like this, what I love about it is the way that this movie is so, no pun intended, so much more fleshed out. And it's fleshed out in the sense that his buddy, who is concerned for him, has been following him because he wants to know what the heck is going on with Victor. And he's like, listen, dude, you are going to tell me. We're all worried about you. You're going to tell me what's going on. And you can see in the still frame, I've jumped ahead a little bit. But, yeah. This is kind of like, we all have friends and we're kind of concerned about them, Want to go check on them. This ain't what you want to find. So he goes to his lab and, he sees that Victor is, putting together a woman's body out of spare parts. And I don't know, again, you might be able to see in the shot, but the leg that's closest in frame is missing a foot. He hasn't added that yet. And again, the effects on this are insane. It's the effects are insane. I mean, this is a TV movie. It's great. And thank you for the link posting, Past Master Dan. God bless you. And also for all you Iron Age fanatics out there, I've got the Welcome to the Iron Age shirt there, all of that stuff. But Nosfero the Crypt Walker is one of my faves. I have it in heavy rotation. Thank you, Past Master Dan. And his friend looks fantastically nauseous in this scene. And he's like, so let me get this straight, dude. You made one mistake and you're gonna throw good body parts after bad. I don't know exactly what the expression is. And his friend is like, he's like, well, look, Victor's like, I got to, because I gotta make this thing happy. And he's like, what, a murdering monster? He's like, this guy isn't human. And here you have it. This thing is not human, and you are not God. And as you can see in the image that's posted up there now, that is how good the effects are in. That is a prosthetic. That is not an actor that's lying still. And he says one of my favorite lines, "You've made a mistake. Do not compound it by making a second one." But I mean, if you know anything about special effects, skin translucency, all of that stuff, the female monster on that table right there, that is, again, just a special effect, just prosthetic, or I should say just a silicone dummy. My God. It's incredible. I mean, you can see the light passing through the nose, the color. It's terrifying. And, of course, then we cut to him sleeping, and the journal with all of his information is in the fireplace. He is burning the journal. He's decided to take his friend's advice, and he's not going to do it. Unfortunately, the monster comes in and sees her and is just taken with her. It does look great, doesn't it, Cranberry? It's crazy. Yeah. He's like, there she is. It's rough, man. Of course, she's missing a foot. But, you're not going to judge a gal for that. Come on. It's 2024. He's like, she's so beautiful. And the monster's overcome. He's like, she's perfect. Yeah, she's a foot too short. You're right. And he's like, I've made us a home. There's so much I want to tell you. He's talking to this inanimate being who hasn't gotten life yet. And then he says, with our children one day. Oh. He's like, give her life. I want her now. He goes, it's in your journal how to do it. And he reveals to the monster that he's burned that journal. And the monster is not having it. And then, of course, he throws the lamp onto the bride, and he burns the whole thing. Victor tries to stab him. Actually, he succeeds. And he's like, you dare break your promise to me? And he says, I will be at your wedding night. And he says, I gave you a chance to give me happiness. Now I'm going to take yours. And here we go. And the shot that, the timing on the stills is a little bit off, but the shot of him with his cape flowing on the wind as he runs across the rooftop is just breathtaking, guys. Yeah, where's Steve Irwin? He's a grumpy monster. God rest Steve Irwin. God bless him. And, of course, his buddy is like, dude, we need to talk. God, this guy is the most reliable friend you could ever have. Very few friends in this world, I believe, will help you dispose of a bunch of corpses you've sewn together from robbing graves. That would be my guess. Just look at the bugger, says Tammy D. And so, yeah, so his buddy and him hike out to dump the body, as one would. I'm guessing. I know, at this point, I'm well outside of my experiential grasp here. So, because I guess the oldest tricks are the best tricks, they decide they're going to dump the body in the river. Yeah, Victor could have informed others of his situation, but he is facilitating a murderer. Yes, he is. He could have informed others of his situation. How many creators of monsters keep the fact that they have got a monster they've made under wraps at great societal expense? It's an old story, isn't it? You know? And he goes, Elizabeth's waiting for you. Go to her. It's a weird thing for a friend to say to you, you know? Hey, man, listen. Listen to me, guys. The girl of your dreams is waiting for you. Let's dump this body in the river and get back to her. That's the part that loses me just a bit. And he's like, I'm going to row in, drop the body off, and, you know, hey, bro, thanks for your support. I'll see you when I get back from my, you know, Thursday body dumping, I guess. And, yeah, it's a thing that happens. This boy don't learn. And again, a great shot. I love that shot because his buddy's on the dock going, bye, Victor. And I'm like, bye, buddy. And he rows on out with the body to dump it. And he's like, I'll see you when I get back. Yeah, you will. Buy all the champagne money can buy. Now, let's just be real. As much as I like his friend, I think he's missed that part where there's a murderous superhuman monster hunting him. You know? Like, that's going to be solved by this. That's a way to look at it. Yeah, like out of Grosse Pointe Blank. You're absolutely right. That's one of my favorite movies, and as you know, Dan Lawless and I used to live a couple blocks from each other. We didn't know it back then in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan. So how's that for some wild coincidence there? Pasta John, there seems to be some pasta mania going on up on her right now. That's right. Always. Shout out to Pasta Mania. Yeah, his friend looks like he's lying to Victor. Well, in a sense, he doesn't know he's lying yet. That's the problem. Yeah, Grosse Pointe Blank is a great movie. I love every conversation about the unions. Flawless, lawless indeed, John. And so then he starts paddling to shore after, you know, his Thursday body drop. And there's a bunch of people waiting there for him. This is that try not to look suspicious face he's trying to make. What body? You know. It's hard to cover that up. And everybody's looking at him like... and for a minute here, I was like going, dude, what happened? You not put enough weight in it? Whew. And that's when he hears there's been a murder. Yeah, I know. You see the pitchforks, Cranberry? Yeah. You gotta have pitchforks in these movies. And then he realizes they've got a body. And he's like, no, it's not a body. I can explain. I'm a student. It's an experiment. It's going to sound crazy. But. And then they pull back the blanket on the body. And there is our good buddy. It seems when he rode out. Yeah, nice to see Solomon Kane making an appearance. Odin, that's an A for the day. That's a great snag. And something, I don't know if it's over here or not. Where the hell is it? Oh. Dang, I wish I knew. Oh, here it is. And yeah, so now he's got some problems. I mean, you know, he's had problems the whole movie. But yeah, he's not doing well. But I definitely made sure I went out because he's a huge influence on my comic book, Nosfero, and Razor Fist had been talking about it as well. But I did get the Mezco Solomon Kane figure, and of course I have the movie on Blu-ray, and the stories are fantastic. So Victor is in jail where, frankly, he belongs and might be the safest. But his dad's like, we know you didn't kill Henry. You're fine. He's like, you don't understand. I kind of did. Everybody knows you didn't do it, Victor. And he's like, yeah, but I kind of, Dad. I kind of might have sort of accidentally on purpose. Yeah. And he's like, it's not safe. We got to get the heck out of here. And everybody's like, dude, you're fine. You're free. And he's like, I'm not. There we go. Now we're going to go home because, we're being stalked by this monster. And you got to understand, too, the thing that makes Mary Shelley's book so brilliant, and the thing I love about it so much, is that this monster is like, it's like when you draw something perfectly symmetrical, like a face perfectly symmetrical. And I have an art book, an anatomy book that shows how horrific it is when things are perfectly symmetrical. Oh my gosh, Tammy D just became a channel member. My goodness. Thank you so much, Tammy D. I'm going to have to play a cheerleader for you at the end of this show because I got to keep this time code. But thank you so much, Tammy D. Stick around for your cheerleader, and I got to get you your name back in the credits. I'm back. This is Tammy D. There you go. And, the thing about all this stuff, thank you, Tammy D. I love seeing you back. I cannot wait to update those credits. So he's going home, and she's like, I can join you if you like. And he's like, everybody needs to just get away from me. Last guy who joined me was, that kid from Downton Abbey. And, now he's 6 feet under. So everybody should probably stay away from me. Everybody should stay away from me. And everybody in the chat, remind me as soon as these credits roll, we got to celebrate Tammy D's triumphant return. Welcome back. And, now, he is, of course, seeing the monster down by the dock. Oh, thank you so much, Tammy D. I really do appreciate it. And he sees a boat going out into the water. Oof. Hail, Louis Fillet, it's great to see you, my friend. So he dashes out to try to catch the boat. Takes off his coat. He's like, I'm going to get that monster. I'm going to swim out to the boat. I'm going to get that rascally monster. Yeah, hey, we all need some fertilizer sometimes. We are the fertilizer. That's right. He goes to check out the boat. And again, this is one of those sequences where, and if you're watching along and you've opened up another window on YouTube, the link to the movie and its timing, yeah, that is Crystal Lake. And then he sees, it's clearly a nightmare. He sees his friend on shore saying, we'll have the finest bottle of champagne. And he's screaming to Henry. Unfortunately, Henry is getting murked by the monster. Yeah, they are at Crystal Lake, Tammy D. And there you go. It's not Friday the 13th. Yeah, it is. He's sort of realizing that, let's see. First kid this guy, or first being this guy ever brought into the world has a body count of about 3 right now. And, And then he wakes up from his nightmare, of course. And, he's like, okay. So he starts cleaning his gun, which seems like a sensible thing to do. And, of course, this vision, Elizabeth, my dear. If we have any Elizabeths in the chat, okay? If you find yourself in a romance with a Victor Frankenstein, run for your life. Elizabeth, honey, get out of there. If you were my daughter, I would tell you, run for the hills. This man is unhinged. Horrendous. Man. And then she cuts to the chase here. She's like, our union has always been a dream of your parents. It's like, easy, baby, pump the brake. And, of course, they don't really pump the brake because, and she's like, do you love somebody else? What is it? Yeah, little Elizabeth and Jenny, listen to your dad. You're darn right. Well, I will tell you this. If my son was as nuts as Victor, I might have to do something about that. get the fellas together, take him on a fishing trip. I don't know. Thank God he's not, but this guy, the second time you rob a grave, Daddy's going to get his belt. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. That's and he's like, I'm to blame for all these murders. Yep. Now, this is a problem with Elizabeth. I'm going to throw a little bit of shade at Elizabeth. I'm apologizing for doing this. He goes, there's something I got to tell you before we get married. And she goes, no, I love you. It can wait till after. And I'm like, can it? Can it, Victor? Sometimes, I don't know, guys. And Michael, you are absolutely spot on with that, man. Teenage Frankenstein, Jason lives. Make it happen. I dig it. So they get married, and I'm sure that's going to last a really long time. What's up, First Watch Studios in the house? Hail, Shanth, what's going on today? We are at timestamp approximately 47:56, 48 minutes in. If you want to open another window, that is if you're not on your iPhone or tablet or Samsung or whatever device fickles your tancy, you can open this and actually watch along with me and the chat for that matter. Watch along with all of us while we watch this flick. And of course, they have a wonderful wedding ceremony, but by the time we get to the reception, he's remembering some parting words from his little creation, which is, I will be with you on your wedding night. Yeesh. Which maybe they were different times, but, and one of the things that happens at the reception, as they do their traditional dancing, is, till death do us part is not very long. And he's seeing visions of awful things. One of the things he sees is the monster, in the crowd and and his dead younger brother. I mean, it's some rough stuff. Yeah. Yeah, till next death do we part is absolutely right. Yeah, and we're having some fun, man. Just lots of work today, lots of shipping of comic books. Watched a great documentary on Dave Stevens, and now I'm capping off the evening with you amazing folks for Pizza Live! Pizza Live! Where we talk about these movies and try to get more eyes on some of these flicks. Now, I know I've told you guys this, that when it comes to locations and costuming and all of this stuff, they've spared no expense. But take a look at this little chalet cottage they go to on their honeymoon. Man, it is this colorful, beautiful scene. I mean, they really did a lot of stuff on location. God, that is terrifying. Sorry. Oh, dear. The images are a little behind, and he's hearing, I will be with you on your wedding night. And it's like, oh, criminy. This ain't good, kids. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I mean, that is some haunting. That's the Shining right there in a nutshell. Blue Boy Comics, how are you doing? Is this the Deep Throat? No, I don't think so, but it's pretty rough. Hail to you, my friend. Yeah. At about 1.5 minutes to the stream time, be synced with Sean's commentary. Got it. There you go. 1.5 minutes. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Aviators got it. Have a wonderful adventure on your honeymoon, says Victor's father to him and Elizabeth. He sets up two identical... Yeah, Sean is not really watching. He's reciting from memory, says John. Stranger things have happened, and you're totally right. Yeah, 100%. Tammy agrees. Yeah, so they have two identical carriages as to confuse anyone stalking them. But if we know anything about this monster, um, yeah, stalking is his middle, first, and last name. He is, yeah, he could give Jason Voorhees a run for his money. Horrendous. Tammy T and John are cracking me up. Aw. So brief. Yeah, he's going to get Rambo on this one. Yeah. I mean, this is one of those, but it's weird. I think he drew First Blood, so it's kind of confusing. He drew first, second, third, fourth, and fifth blood. So not so much Rambo, but yes, in terms of his hunting skills, like you see them, riding off into, this picturesque environment, as beautiful chalet, and these mountains. I mean, this stuff is gorgeous. And to have a honeymoon, what could go wrong? Yeah, these crazy shots, indeed. I want you all to picture this. I said this in the comments earlier, but this deserves a Blu-ray, a 4K, a remaster. He was just hungry for love. Yeah, he's intense. Yep, absolutely right, Cranberry Langers. People are just too fragile. Yep, yeah, not all on purpose, 100%. Yeah, he was like Superman having a hugging contest. I mean, again, another picturesque mountain scene, and, I just got to be honest with you. I'd have had like 60 guys around me with guns if it was a particular date when the threat went down, which is your wedding night. I mean, here we are, guys, and we're, look, going to a remote place where it's isolated and you're alone when you're being stalked by a psychopathic super monster, no, sir. Don't do it. So the monster, 100% Lenny petting rabbits. And so it's nighttime, had a few drinks, and she's like, hey, you gotta tell me that thing you were gonna tell me, that thing. And, having fun, drinking. Young newlyweds. Oh, dear. Now, again, the thing about the monster, we've already sort of seen this, and it's really well done here with this sequence, is the monster is methodical and strategic in how he does things. Just like he framed, the nanny with the jewelry. Yeah, oh God, if the internet existed, you're so right, Aviator Surge, the monster would be a massive troll. Massive. He'd be trolling everywhere. Was Frankenstein the first super, not really a hero? Yeah, he was super something. And he's basically, he goes, I did some bad things, babe. It's time to tell you, it's the honeymoon. The honeymoon's over. It was short. Can't believe you're missing that Rocky Ballesteros. What the heck? Here it comes. He's like, I figured out a way to, make life, and so I waited for a big storm, and then he hears some thumping outside. Grabs his gun. And he's like, and he sees a cloaked figure running away, and I just gotta say, I created him just so he could watch. Oh my God, Odin. He goes, I think we've been followed. Come on, kid. You're supposed to be smart. And she's like, it's the one you've been afraid of. And of course, as you guys can see in the images. Oh, boy. And she's like, what have you done? So, yeah, he goes for a chase. And unfortunately leaves Elizabeth alone. What the heck? You had one job, Victor. One job. And rather than Victor returning, it is a giant reanimated pile of corpses. She's not happy to see him. Yeah, They're both very intelligent, says Cranberry Langers. Yeah. Because you're so beautiful, the monster says to Elizabeth. You're even more beautiful than you are from afar. Never a good thing to hear, by the way, ladies. And the monster's telling her, look, hey, listen, lady, it's nothing personal. I've tried to make him understand, and he's left me no choice, and he doesn't deserve you anyway. Well, so Victor finally catches up with the cloaked figure, and the cloaked figure says he made me do it, and he's like, oh crap. I left Elizabeth at the house, and then, of course, he's only got one real move. And he's trying to get himself in the house. Get upstairs, catch the monster. Grabs his gun. And there you go. Our dear Elizabeth is no longer with us, guys. And if there's something that I want to have happen, and I've seen this happen so many times, people have tried to adapt this movie. Yep, like a puppy who destroys the house for being left alone. Yeah, on a terrifying level. I don't understand. Yep. Elizabeth won't be joining us for the rest of her life. And Victor's, Victor's repeated catastrophic errors are just compounded with interest. But I desperately want to see them make a Dracula movie with this level of accuracy. Because I don't think it's never been done. And of course, the monster peeks in through the window while still holding his dead beloved. He opens fire on the monster, gives chase. I think he gets at least one shot into the monster. Yep, he hits him once. Man. Yep. Yeah, at the expense of Miss Elizabeth. That's a deep cut, Odin, but well said. Oh, rest in peace, Miss Elizabeth. I remember the Macho Man Savage, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, and Miss Elizabeth, of course, distracting. What a distraction that was. So he shoots him, he dives into the water. Very human, the monster. Victor is very monstrous. Yeah, I mean, I would say, though, that, again, this is the thing I come back to. Victor gave him life, and then kind of didn't pay attention to him. He's now killed a child, had a innocent woman hung, killed another guy, killed now Elizabeth. He's the monster here. I know we've said that Frankenstein is the monster. Victor Frankenstein is the monster in this movie, but the monster is really the monster. This is something I think that this was Mary Shelley's intention. Her intention was to talk about, again, the awful sort of hubris of Victor Frankenstein and not to repeat his mistakes. But yeah, he reached for a power that was beyond what he should have had, with no understanding of what he was reaching for. If Jeff Goldblum was here, he'd say, I'll tell you the problem with what Victor Frankenstein has done. He didn't attain the knowledge for himself, so he doesn't take any responsibility for it. He stood on the shoulder of corpses to accomplish something as fast as he could, and before he even knew what he had, he patented it, he packaged it, he slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now he's selling it. He's selling it. Well, you know. And of course, now they're checking the water to see if they can find the monster's body, and I've got news for you. Vic. There's a few more minutes left in this flick, and that ain't gonna happen for you, buddy. So now he comes home from his honeymoon. One carriage, of course. No need to worry about being followed. And Elizabeth is no longer with us, as he comes home to his father, who was so full of hope when he departed. And this is probably one of the best scenes and most painful scenes in the entire flick. I love it. Father is sitting on the stairs like, what the F has happened to my life? Beautiful Elizabeth's dead. My son's dead. My wife died when you were younger. And he goes, your mother endured so much when she was full of love. Whew. Because his father says to him, death pursues you like the devil. He goes, let us not quarrel, Dad. We only have each other. And his father says, whose fault is that? He goes, you don't need to be here anymore, man. His father says to him, listen, there's nobody left to die. The house is empty. And he goes, I love you, but I don't know who you are. I mean, to be honest, his father is about the only person in his life. His father's lost everything. Might as well wish that he was dead at this point in the sense of this story. But, yeah, freaking horrendous and excellent delivery. Oof. So he finds himself now going to a cemetery, seeing his brother's tombstone. I mean, basically every life he's touched. In a way, what's interesting is I don't think he gave birth to a living thing. I think he gave birth to death. I mean, it's really what he did, I mean, this monster. And this is Bernie Wrightson's monster. I believe, even though I think Guillermo del Toro has a tendency to make monsters the heroes even where they shouldn't be, he's very anti-human in his stuff. He has the rights to, he's going to make Frankenstein or a Frankenstein Netflix show, and he has the rights to the design of Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein character. And that might be very interesting as a film. But I just think that Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley working with her just hit it out of the park. Didn't Goldblum in Jurassic Park also say something? We were obsessed with what we could. Yeah, that is it right there, man. That is the Goldblum quote. It is absolutely the Goldblum quote. By the way, an incredible performance, and that's another movie that's about Frankenstein. And so, of course, he gets at the graveyard. He gets a threatening, or father, go back to where I was made. I'll meet you there. Victor leaves. He's there's black, cloth hanging all over the house. It's a house of death and grief. And he rides off, on this adventure. I mean, what else has he got now? No future with Elizabeth. No brother. No family. The only thing he can cause his father by sticking around is death, and his father doesn't even want to see him anymore because he's been such a disaster, on the family. So, of course, he rides, off to go and see, go back to school, essentially, where all this, where his curiosity destroyed his family. It's such a poignant story, guys. Frankenstein is a masterpiece. It's a canonical work. I don't think I can overstate that. Just like our own personal monster says, John, you're right, 100%. 100%. Now, I'm going to show you guys some cool artwork when we're done with this that I'm working on. So, if you have not, I've got to definitely play a cheerleader for Tammy D. But this is the thing. I want to make sure that I've got, I show you guys some stuff I've been working on today because it has been crazy. And of course, his professor, sees him, and his professor is this is a really interesting scene. The professor is essentially like, I warned you not to do things, but then I look at my life, and what have I accomplished? You're a genius. I should have been with you. And Victor's like, that's not what I need to hear from you. I'm coming here to tell you you were right, and you're telling me you think I was right. It's a nightmare scenario. You see two men, for very different reasons, near the end of their lives. Both, what did they say? The definition of a midlife crisis is getting to the top of the ladder and realizing you're against the wrong wall. Regret is of what, your choices are, can only be so useful. I think that Victor saw the monster as his masterpiece, whether he wanted to acknowledge it or not. Of course, I don't think that's what Mary Shelley intended. I mean, she would have put it in the book, but because I think he really was trying to kill it. But for me, I can't help but let my mind go there. And considering this is in the public domain, I hope that we see many more gothic Frankenstein interpretations. There's actually one I have over here within reach. Hang on a second. Yeah, envy only takes, yes. And that's 100%. Let me see if I can reach this thing. Oh, if I don't fall over. Here we go. Ah! There we go. But Frankenstein Alive Alive by Bernie Wrightson is a fantastic exploration of the character. Unfortunately, he did not live long enough to finish it. But he finished most of it, and it's breathtaking. Yeah, you look at what someone else has and you want it, and that is 100% the definition. And of course, now it is a literal, figurative cat and mouse game. I mean, he is being, pursued. He's terrorizing people to let Victor know where he is. Victor reads in the paper that this village is being terrorized. He's going to go and visit it. And you see when he gets there, and that's what this still is about, you see when he gets there that the note, there's a note that's left there with F on it for him, for Frankenstein, and he keeps telling him, I'm still out there, not good. Not good at all. Terror in the trenches is right, John. Shout out to my man Vaughn. There's a link to his latest campaign, KITARU Witch Hunter, and I believe there's a Kickstarter for it too, or something. I'm not exactly sure what's happening with it, but I think the Indiegogo may still be active, but I'm sure there's links. So yeah, do check that out. RiseAgainComics.com is Vaughn's website. Yeah, Terror in Town, indeed. Yeah. So he rides out to the town, and of course goes to the church, which might not have hurt him if he'd started going a little bit sooner. Might have, and then of course they point guns at him the second he comes in the church, because he's kind of a problem, really. And yeah, the monster's been terrorizing them. They're worried he's the monster. Oof. And of course he's killed another kid because that's his trademark. I mean, my God. Yeah. Terrible. But let me say this, as awful as the monster is in this story, as terrifying as the monster is in this story in terms of like how he's portrayed, it's accurate, it's wonderful, it's poetic, it's how it should be done. He is a great character of literature. So is Macbeth. They're not good people. They're not good people, but they are great characters. Darth Vader is very much the same way. And so off he rides into the Arctic. And I don't know if you can see this in the frame, but if you look in the distance in that frame, you can actually see the monster in, that mountainscape right there, walking along the ice. And so for all intents and purposes, he's heading north. You know, he's heading north and he's being driven to his rendezvous, and he's reading these notes and, you know, and gosh, when you get to, as you can see, the dog sled chase that they engage in once they get far enough north, my goodness, is it just well done, you know, and just in terms of this giant caped, you know, behemoth moving across the ice, it's all action. In terms of, like, you know, the chase aspect of it, the story is so good. You can find the audiobook to the you know, novel on YouTube. You can find all of this stuff. But man, oh man, so good. And look at that look over the shoulder he has. I mean, good God. Yeah, driven to his date with destiny. 100%. Yeah, movie announcer voice. Yeah, it's so true. Dreaming of a flexible neck right now. Night, night, Tammy. Indeed. Good night, Tammy D. We're going to play your cheerleaders for you if you're going off to bed. So, yes, indeed. Take care. And so, yeah. He's on a mission to hunt down something that is also hunting him. Sort of leading him to the end of the earth, which I love. There's something so poetic about that, you know? Something so great about that. Wow. Aviator Surge says the monster calls Victor father for having created him. If Victor had created the bride, he would have also be his father. The monster's love for the bride is basically Luke and Leia syndrome. Well, they aren't genetically related, and here is something, Aviator Surge, that you just made me realize. Elizabeth is Victor's adopted sister in the same sort of fashion. So there is something else Mary Shelley was talking about there. A little bit weird. You know? Someone he grew up with to marry. Oh, just guessing, says John. Understood, John. So yeah, Aviator, there's some... Mary Shelley and Percy Shelley were developing this together. It's tough to know how much of who did what. I guess they agreed that Mary Shelley's name should be on the book. It was her concept and her idea, but the more you research into it, the more I think it's the product of someone's imagination and two artists being married and collaboration of their marriage, you know? And again, just this ice chase, and the monster is just so confident. Just looking, you know, over his shoulder like, I am not, you know, you can't get me. So Victor, of course, is, you know, not superhuman. And he's got his dog sled and his team of dogs, and he's chasing. Look at that shot right there. Chasing after the monster. And now, this was something that was just, again, more nightmare fuel. I guess while he is looking to try to get a better bead on the monster and figure out where the hell the monster has been. He finds some tracks. Wait till someone starts seeing Let It Go. Yeah. Well, in a sense, it's more of a screaming. And of course, the monster is just toying with him at this point, as you would imagine. Everybody leave me. I'm fed up with this world. Yeah, exactly. Oh, hi, Victor, the monster. Yup. You know, and of course, this takes us to... where does Timothy Fitzgerald? How are you doing? It's great to see you. Fulfillment's going great. I just took another batch of boxes to the post office today. Yeah, they love me there. But it's great. It's been wonderful, Timothy. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's oh man, it's a crazy one-man operation, but we're chipping away and getting it done. And this part actually was rough. You know? It's like he's got the dog sled, and the dogs are nervous, and he thinks he hears somebody, and like, this guy has not really, Victor Frankenstein has not learned his lesson, okay, kids? He keeps going out away from things. I don't know why the chat's buffering. Gosh, hopefully everything's all right. And he goes out looking for him, and of course, I mean, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? He comes back, and several of his dogs have been killed that had been pulling his sled. So now he's a few dogs down. No, that was the monster's doing. The monster did that. So now he's chasing the monster. I mean, this guy is just losing everything. Like, he is running and pushing the sled, and the monster's just like, dude, bring it. I mean, he wants that monster dead. He wants him taken down. And of course, this brings us to the start of the film and the start of the book. The way that it's supposed to be. Got a bunch of people frozen in the ice, and they see two men chasing each other, and at a distance they can see that one of the people that's riding a sled is a giant. Is a giant monster. And then they find themselves coming upon a desperate, weary human being who has this incredible story to tell. And this takes us to where we are. He is dying, and we are back where the telling of the story and the location. Yeah, I mean, seriously, kill my recent bride. John's like, all right, to err is human, but my dog, and it's on. John's not having it, guys. I hate to break it to you. John is done. And he says, I used to think I was destined for some great enterprise, and then this is what I was destined for. And he says, swear to me you will kill this monster. Oof. Okay, the link is in the description, Timothy Fitzgerald. We are watching the best adaptation and most faithful adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a 2-part miniseries. Great special effects, great actors, Donald Sutherland, William Hurt. And the link is pinned to the chat. Great flick. Great flick. And so now he says you have to, kill the monster, and the captain is like going, he doesn't know if this guy's high. I mean, he doesn't know. They were different times. And then the crew announces, as soon as the ice breaks, the captain says, we're heading back. Because he's learning his lesson. He's like, do not go in pursuit of things at the peril of your life. So his dream to have this discovery, he puts it to one side, And then oh, understood, Timothy. Understood. And so now he's dying, and he says, I'm turning back. He's like, we're going to find you a doctor. And he's like, no, I've got to keep going. And then here you go, guys. His body is given out, and then we have this. The ghost of Elizabeth appears, and he sees her, or a vision of Elizabeth. I prefer to think it's Elizabeth herself.